Previously on The Bizarre Show.
Oh, jeez. Must have left the coffee pot on again. Hey, Wes. Yeah, station bird down. Coffee pot. Alright, see ya. Fucking all the stupid fucking things. Man, what am I gonna do? It's not like jobs just coming out of nowhere. Wes, get down to the video spectrum. I think our problems are solved. So, Wes, I had a hell of a time getting here.
Did you get followed?
No, my car broke down. Luckily, I had a CB radio in my car. Somebody came and picked me up. He was a little weird.
I'll give you a ride.
Yeah, I'm luckily here now.
Let's just start with our usuals, dude. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, man. My trip here made me think of a movie I have not seen in a long time. The movie Joyride.
Joyful Ride.
A 2001 American horror thriller film directed by John Dahl, written by J.J. Abrams.
That dude.
That fucking guy. Even you know who that is.
I know who that is. Yes,
Yeah.
I saw him on Howard Stern.
There you go.
That's the only reason I know who that is. I know that he directed Star Trek.
That's correct. It was co-written by Clay Tarver as well, who we don't care about.
The Clay Tarver.
Yeah, the Clay Tarver. It stars the late Paul Walker, rest in peace, as Lewis Thomas, a college freshman embarking on a cross-country road trip during summer break to pick up his childhood crush, Venna, played by the now retired Leelee Sobieski.
Yeah, God love her, you know.
Yeah, focusing on the fam.
Absolutely. I thought forever that she was the daughter of Helen Hunt from Mad About You. They're like 30 years apart, or 20 years apart, but they do look very similar. And I remember when I was growing up watching Mad About You, only because it was on the same night as Seinfeld.
Sure. You throw Leelee Sobieski in a dryer, you get modern Helen Hunt.
Yes.
Along for the ride is Lewis's brother Fuller, played by Steve Zahn, a practical joker who uses the car's CB radio to play a cruel prank on a trucker known only by the handle Rusty Nail.
He actually bought the CB from the guys that, he actually bought it for $40.
He did.
It did, yeah. So he actually initiated the whole thing. It wasn't just like the car, the old car that.
Well, it's both their faults, and we'll get into why. It's both of their fucking faults. Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, don't let Lewis off the hook now.
Lewis is
just
off
his
the
fault.
hook.
Yeah. The victim of Fuller's gag, a psychotic murderer, pursues them relentlessly to get revenge at any cost. Let's start the movie with a conversation between our hero, Lewis Thomas, and his childhood friend and crush, Venna Wilcox, who, much to Lewis's excitement, has just broken up with her boyfriend.
Poor guy.
Yeah, she made him cry.
That's what she said. I would cry too.
Yeah. She says she wishes that Lewis had a car so he could pick her up in Colorado and they could both head home. He has a plane ticket that he refunds and then uses the money to buy a 1971 Chrysler Newport.
Pretty cool car. I like those old. I mean, they weren't nice, but they were a little bit like. I think I like the looks of the old like 70s weird cars like that.
It's a boat. It's definitely a boat.
I like those. I mean, I would never want to own one, and they're not practical, and they were never made to run right. But I like the looks of it, man. I think it's cool.
While traveling from California to Colorado, he's forced to make a stop in Salt Lake City after he learns his estranged older brother Fuller has been arrested again.
He's troubled.
He's very troubled. Which, looking at Steve Zahn, this clean-cut, chiseled, handsome-looking guy, he does not look like a repeat offender. Do you see what I'm saying?
He does not look like that much of a hooligan.
No, he looks like a frat boy. He does not look like he's a career criminal.
He looks very much like frat boy who likes to be the wise guy.
Exactly.
He likes to crack wise on people, and he never takes anything serious.
Lewis bails him out, and Fuller tags along for the trip. At a gas station, Fuller has a CB radio installed in Lewis's car. $40.
$40 well spent.
Damn straight. The two begin listening in on truckers' chatter, and Fuller coaxes Lewis into playing a prank on a truck driver nicknamed Rusty Nail, voiced by the great Ted Levine, essentially doing his Buffalo Bill voice.
Who do you fuck with? How you fuck with? Roger that, candy cane.
He was doing more of a Buffalo Bill voice than Buffalo Bill.
I know. The whole time I was watching it, I kept thinking, he just reverted right back to his Buffalo Bill voice. That's it.
To give him a little credit, his voice isn't that much different than that, but he was really hamming it up.
His normal voice, yeah, it sounds, I mean, it's definitely different, but you can definitely hear the,
Yes.
it sounds like puts the lotion in its skin, or
Let me give you a little bit of advice.
do it.
I'll be the one doing Buffalo Bill's voice for this episode.
Nope, I'm going to do it just to drive you nuts.
You by all means go ahead. And if you edit out all of mine, it's just going to sound like yours. And that'll be a tragedy.
Fuller coaxes Lewis to pretend to be a woman named Candy Cane. In my opinion, a not very convincing female voice.
Well, Rusty Nail, I hope you're doing better than I am. Man, this drive, it seems like it's taking forever.
You're being kind. It's so awful.
It's
And
not even close.
It's not even close to a woman's voice.
He sounds like this.
Like, dude, if you can't tell that that's a dude doing a girl's voice,
That's your fucking fault.
that's Rusty Nail's fault.
This is Candy Cane.
Hey, Candy Cane. So he falls for it.
And if I were there, Rusty Nail, you know what I'd do?
Tell me.
Mr. Rusty Nail. And, they kind of coax him along and he's into it. And he's like,
What does he
"What
say
are
he
you
wants to
wearing?
do to her?
Take off your bra."
Oh, okay, you take that off.
You take off my bra? Oh, okay. Yeah, take off my bra, Rusty Nail.
I'm gonna take it off.
Take off your bra. So they get going on that. It goes on for way too long, and they end it leaving it kind of open ended. And
They lose the signal. They lose
the signal. Yeah, they lose the signal, unfortunately for Rusty now. And then so they end up pulling over at a roadside motel. Steve Zahn has a little bit of a run-in with a racist douchebag in the leasing guy's office or whatever, the hotel manager guy. So we already hate this person, this old, big, kind of weird white dude. And Steve Zahn kind of tries to, alleviate the tense situation before this guy leaves or whatever. And he kind of checks him. So they end up back in the car after they get the room. And then all of a sudden we hear Candy Cane.
Hello, Candy Cane, are you there?
You are kidding me. Like, can you believe that?
So right before they actually go in for the night, Steve Zahn talks Lewis into doing the final bit of the prank.
By setting up a meeting with Rusty Nail at the motel they're spending the night at. They tell him that Candy Cane will be in room 17, which is the room of the irritable and racist businessman.
Right beside theirs. So they were going to be able to listen to the whole thing.
They're in room 18.
So they do that.
Okay, Rusty Nail, I'll be in room 17. So why don't you show up at midnight with a bottle of pink champagne, my favorite.
They high five really hard after this one. And I think it does take a little coaxing to get Lewis to do it.
Well, that's when you said earlier that this is Fuller's fault. Lewis is definitely not at fault because he was hesitant at first.
He did not want to do it. It was up to him. They wouldn't have.
Right. But of course, he's talked into it by his bigger brother, and then he goes along with it. So they're both at fault.
But Steve Zahn is literally setting this Rusty Nail up, who they have no idea that this Rusty Nail is a horrifying murderer. They're setting this person up, who is just a truck driver in their minds, with this very angry, racist, large man. They're setting up a disaster.
Later, Rusty Nail arrives, and the brothers listen from their room number 18. An argument can be heard, followed by sounds of a scuffle.
Very slight. Yeah, muffled. They don't hear the violence that actually takes place. What they hear is they think it's like a small scuffle, and then they don't really hear anybody leave.
No, but they do call the front desk, and they alert them that something may have gone down. The next morning, Lewis and Fuller learn that the police found the businessman on the highway. After a brief questioning, the officer takes them to the hospital, where he shows them that the victim, Ronald Ellinghaus is his name, had his jaw ripped off, which I don't think you would survive.
No, and it's completely against police protocol. And of course, the scene where they're being Steve Zahn, when he leaves that, in the morning and he walks out, and at this moment, they're thinking that Rusty Nail was a victim. And then the cop is basically explaining to them that no, the businessman that had the room is the victim, and you need to come down and see what happened to him. Because that's police protocol.
Yeah, that would never happen. Never fucking happen. No. They're taken to the police station where Lewis admits that they were involved, and Sheriff Ritter accosts them for their role in the incident, but he ultimately lets them go.
Pretty damn stupid. First off, they would have taken those guys to the police station and put them in like a witness thing.
The plot has to move forward quickly, so let's just say, for the sake of argument, sure. Back on the road, Rusty Nail is heard again on the CB radio, looking for Candy Cane.
Hey, Candy Cane.
Candy Cane.
Baba Black Sheep.
Lewis reveals to him that he is Candy Cane, and Rusty Nail demands an apology, but Fuller insults him instead, saying that he needs a psychiatrist and a bunch of drugs.
Because not a psychologist, a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And then he says, so he goes,
See this voice? Hear this voice?
it's me, Paul Walker, and the voice is not that different.
Paul Walker with his car movies. I just thought of that as I was watching. I was like, God damn, another movie where Paul Walker's in a car.
This was his jumping off vehicle of a long line of car movies.
Yeah, this was good training for Fast and Furious. Not good training for real life, though.
No, okay. See you at the crossroads, Paul.
Yep.
You did a good job, and she's all that.
Rusty Nail then notes they should get their taillight fixed, indicating he is following behind them.
That might be the best scene. Yeah, after like the reveal of Paul Walker being the female voice. Yeah, Black Sheep, you might want to get that fixed. Yeah, what's that? Your tail light. Oh, now we have a movie.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so that's scary, dude.
They quickly drive to a nearby gas station and unsuccessfully attempt to contact Sheriff Ritter. They see a large truck pull into the gas station, and it's an ice truck.
Ice truck. Yep.
Yep. And the driver gets out with what looks like a large bat and starts smacking at the tires.
It's a tire thumper.
They don't know that.
I knew that. I was in high school.
Okay.
I was in high school. By the way, that was my nickname in high school. Tire thumper.
After they see this menacing-looking fellow, they flee from the scene into a dead end, and that very truck driver starts chasing after them. The driver, it turns out, is just a kind stranger trying to return Lewis's credit card when he left behind in a panic.
Yeah, it's a MasterCard they left behind because they left in a panic because of the menacing baseball bat.
Hey, stay the fuck back, man! We got a gun! And I got a MasterCard.
So all is well for about 30 seconds. And then the ice truck starts to turn around and pull around, and they're just kind of getting their breath still. And then this might be the most ridiculous part of the movie, Sean.
It's fucking cool, though, man. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cool.
In a really dumb way. Yeah, the ice truck gets kind of perpendicular. Then all of a sudden, kablooey.
I felt bad for that poor trucker. He was just trying to be nice, and then all of a sudden this asshole comes flying through and probably didn't kill him, but it definitely fucked up his livelihood.
Well, it was better that it blew in half than it just like toppled over.
That's true.
We'll let the viewers at home decide if that was a good effect or not. Mm-hmm. So now they get in the car and they start panicking, and they're trying to get, of course, the car is not exactly working the way that it should be at the moment that it should be.
After a short chase, Lewis and Fuller come close to slamming to a tree. They get stuck, and then they are pinned by Rusty. After he slowly crushes the car against the tree, Fuller hysterically apologizes.
Don't kill us, man! We apologize!
Rusty Nail drives away, declaring his actions to be simply a retaliatory joke.
Yeah, just like what happened to him.
It's just a prank, bro.
Yeah, so you guys had some fun at my expense. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. So they basically he gets him pinned up next to that tree. They're terrified for their lives. I would have jumped out of the car at some point, but they didn't.
That is exactly what I thought too. Why are they not just getting out of the car and running away?
Yeah, that would have been bad for the movie. And now the car's all fucked up, and they're just like, now they're even more scared for their lives. But they also, I think that it's over.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. It's not.
Believing themselves safe, they fix up the car and once again hit the road. They arrive at the University of Colorado and pick up Venna. Venna?
I don't know. I think it's Venna.
I think it's Venna.
Steve, the older brother, Steve Zahn, is taken with the vision of a young Helen Hunt walking his way when he's at the car. He's a creep, dude.
Yeah, he really is. And it gets worse here in a minute.
It gets way worse. Oh, yeah, when Charlotte shows up.
Steve Zahn is quite taken.
You're definitely going with us, right?
But alas, she is not. So she takes off, and then they...
Well, what was she driving? Did you see what she was driving?
A way too expensive car for a college kid.
If you go to the University of Colorado and you have some really rich parents, that's pretty cool. She was driving a 2-seater convertible BMW.
Do you know what I was driving at that age?
Dude, yeah.
A fucking 4-door Oldsmobile Sierra SL.
That's fucking perfect. And
1996 model.
Oh, see, I had a 92 Ford Taurus. Yeah. So you and I, we were not rich college kids. We were idiots. So now they're on the road and they're going back to Jersey now, right?
Yep. They stop at a motel, and after a bar altercation, or a potential bar altercation, Lewis falls asleep as Fuller goes to check out Vienna's V.
Oh God, dude, that was such a weird thing. He somehow gets his hands on some liquor and some orange juice.
His brother's a douche. Let's just say that.
He has some funny lines and whatnot. He's always the levity of the scene. He's always the wisecracker. He's that guy. Steve Zahn plays that part in a lot of movies, but he does a good job with it. But yes, he's a douche. He goes to her room on purpose for that one last drink they never got because of the altercation. I would have said yes just so I could have chugged whatever drink he had and said, get the fuck out of here.
Maybe that's what would have ended up happening, but we'll never know because Rusty Nail calls Lewis's room, revealing he has noticed Venna has joined them. He then finds the both of them and says, we got to get the fuck out of here. Also, what are you doing in her room? That's a bad time to ask that question. Who gives a shit?
At that moment, he shouldn't have. Well, honestly, I would have thought about that too.
But would you have brought it up at that particular moment?
No, sir.
You get to safety first, then you ask questions later.
Yes. Let's just move on because it doesn't make any fucking sense. So they all jump in the fucking car and they get back on the highway. And while Paul Walker is lamenting about shit with Leelee Sobieski, Steve Zahn is driving and sees that each marker sign that is coming up says, check the trunk.
Which, how the fuck did he pull that off?
You couldn't. You can't just stop and then spray paint, stop and then spray paint.
Yeah.
So I think we forgot to mention that Steve Zahn did throw out the CB. So the CB is no longer with them. Steve Zahn stops and they're like, dude, why are you stopping here, man? He wants us to check the trunk. So what do they see when they open the trunk, Sean?
They find the CB radio, which Fuller had thrown out the window earlier.
Is it the same one or is it a different one?
Same one. Rusty Nail then contacts them again via the radio, announcing that he has kidnapped Venna's friend Charlotte.
Well, he doesn't announce it like that. He has her screaming.
Through a really roundabout way,
yeah.
He announces that he has kidnapped Charlotte.
Yep, and he also calls Leelee Sobieski the real life or the real candy cane. Now we're back to daylight. We're in the next day. They're all freaked out. This has all been thrown upon her without any warning. After, the night before, they're at a truck stop and they were told by Rusty Nail to go into this place naked and order 6 cheeseburgers each. That was the embarrassing part. Leelee Sobieski had to stay in the car. That was his stipulation. And by the way, nowadays they would have been shot before they would have entered the place.
Yeah.
But in 2001, when this movie came out, they were able to walk all the way in, sit down, order the 6 cheeseburgers each, and then have the manager walk up to them and say, if this is some kind of prank from like a fraternity, I would say it's pretty good. This is pretty funny.
He was complimenting what they were doing.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave either way. And then all of a sudden you hear honking. So they run out because Leelee Sobieski, by the way, has a conversation with Rusty Nail and she apologizes for them. And so this all is happening while they're in the diner. And she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, so now they know how it feels to be the butt of the joke. Like, okay, dude. After the diner scene, they get taken out into the cornfield again, and they get separated, and Leelee Sobieski gets taken away by Rusty Nail, aka Buffalo Bill.
Rusty Nail sets up a meeting in another motel room, 17, mirroring the false date with which he was pranked. He sets up a trap that will kill Venna if the room door is opened.
Rusty Nail actually, now that she has her captive, he saran wraps her to a chair. Why would you saran wrap somebody into a chair when you could just as easily have gotten duct tape
or rope or zip ties or anything?
Saran wrap is a whole thing, and it's not always the easiest to maneuver with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saran wrap can be a little bit clingy.
It's a bitch to work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Duct tape is just.
Yep. It's pretty straightforward. Fuller attempts to get in the room by a back window, but is injured by Rusty Nail and stuck outside.
Is that like a hook through his leg or something? Or like some kind of rebar or
fucking
something?
Brutal, man. Lewis attempts to free Fuller as the police arrive to help Venna. Meanwhile, Rusty Nail's truck appears uphill and begins rolling down towards the motel.
Yeah, it looks like it's going fast, but it takes forever to get there.
Yeah. Well.
Movie
Yeah,
magic.
Movie magic, yeah. Everyone escapes as the truck crashes into the motel.
So Sobieski is safe at this point, and everybody's pretty much safe except for Zahn's leg is all fucked up. But take us home, sir.
As the police investigate Rusty Nail's truck, they see a dead body in the driver's seat and Charlotte, still alive, in the back.
Yeah, the Mrs. BMW two-seater, she's alive. That's great.
And she survived.
Everyone pretty much survives.
Yep.
Including Rusty Nail.
Lewis, Fuller, and Venna are treated for their injuries at an ambulance. At this point, the dead man found inside the truck turns out to be the friendly truck driver who returned Lewis's credit card from earlier.
Yeah.
See you at the crossroads, friendly guy. That fucking sucked.
Well, we knew that he was pretty much dead, but yeah.
I was hoping he wasn't, though.
He kept his corpse.
From the CB in the ambulance, the group hears Rusty Nail's voice, learning that he is alive and free.
Looking forward to the storm. Washes everything clean.
He doesn't say Candy Cane. Was she a great big fat person? I think he says that in Silence of the Lambs. Rusty Nail's still out there. He's still out there.
And that, Wes, is how the movie ends. The film was released on October 5th, 2001. It received generally positive reviews from critics, and it earned $36.6 million against its $23 million budget. That's a moderate win.
It's a slight win.
That's a slight win, yeah.
Did this really get praise?
I think so, yeah. It got a sequel. Not a great one, but it got a sequel.
I think there's a couple sequels.
Yeah, there's like Joyride 2 and 3, I think.
I think J.J. Abrams has a writing credit in both as characters by.
Yeah, exactly. He did not return for, no.
There's really nothing else to say except for I like the rain. It keeps people inside and it washes away the dirt.
So, Wes, what are your final thoughts and grading on Joyride?
I don't know, man. It's a hard one because you know how I like to grade things very inconsistently, very weird. I don't like new horror movies, including new movies that are from this era. It's not whimsical. It's dumb. I've given a lot of better movies worse grades. I always say that. I'll give this like a fucking C just because you have to see it to believe it. It's fucking stupid. It's fun. I love Rusty Nail. It's the best part of the movie. Paul Walker's jeans are from like 1998. They're very baggy. Steve Zahn's funny. Leelee Sobieski is a very attractive woman who is a very talented actress, and I have a lot of respect for her, and we share the same birthday on the same day. What do you think?
I'm going to go with you, my friend. I'm going to say, well, maybe one better, C+. This is just a fun little movie. It's not overly violent. There's not a lot of gore. There's a bit of suspense, which I think works really well. Yeah, Paul Walker's great. Steve Zahn, Leelee Sobieski is great. The whole cast does a fantastic job for what this movie is. It's definitely not going to go down in history as a classic, that's for sure. But if you have an afternoon to kill, I would definitely recommend pop it in and have fun.
Bye-bye, Black Sheep.